When talking about roller coasters in Germany, it's mostly about the newest big blockbuster attractions at the more popular parks, about rides at parks like Europa Park or Phantasialand. But I think it's time to look at some rather neglected roller coasters in Germany. So I have decided that for this list I'm going to pick a couple of roller coasters in and around Germany that deserve a little spotlight for a variety of reasons. Rides that are in a way or another notable to me. So therefore this list mostly features smaller rides in more obscure parks, a couple of traveling roller coasters and a Zira Tivoli. I have ridden all of the rides discussed, and this selection is not ranked on how much I like a particular ride, but more of a random order. So let's grab the first coaster from the back and see what we get. The Gesenkte Sau at Erlebnispark Tripsdrill, which is an expression that means something like driving really fast and reckless, was Gerstlauer Amusement Ride's first roller coaster. It is built around a small castle-like structure which also themes parts of the park's log flume. To promote the ride when opening in 1998, this guy, called Dirk Auer, put on his specially designed inline skates and skated on the roller coaster's rails. However, he didn't quite make it around. So a couple of years later, in 2001, he repeated the feat on the very popular German entertainment television show Wetten, dass. Its format was the basis for the British show You Bet and the American show Wanna Bet. This time he had to ride the roller coaster on inline skates while carrying a glass of beer. At the end of the ride, the judges would see how much beer remained in the glass to determine the outcome. He would adjust the speed with his body weight and a small brake handle. At times he almost came to a halt, but in the end he made it through all drops, helixes and bunny hops. Live on national television, Dirk Auer successfully completed the ride. So this is Black Hole, the only Zira Helldiver model in existence. It's basically a tiny ride that's only 384 meters or 1260 feet long, excluding the sidetrack. The dome is just 12.6 meters or 41.5 feet high, and the whole thing fits on a tiny plot of land. Black Hole used to tour the German fair circuit, but for now it's operating at Freizeitland Geiselwind in Bavaria. Riders take seat in one of 9 cars which can fit up to 4 adults or 6 children each, and when I last rode the Black Hole there were no restraints whatsoever on the cars, none. The lift hill circles around the dome and takes riders to an astonishing height of 6.9 meters, 22.6 feet. Then on its first drop the ride reaches a top speed of 41 km per hour or 25.5 miles per hour. Inside the tent, the layout is mostly a bunch of left-leading helixes of the ride steepness until a change in direction signals the end of the ride. An extensive right-handed turn now takes riders back out of the dome and into the load-unload area. Now, until this technical specification chart was made public, what fascinated me most about this ride was its layout. Even when the sun is still out, the inside of the dome is technically pitch black. This is the type of ride where even knowing about the minimum clearance outline or Lichtraumprofil, I would not dare to raise my hands outside the ride vehicle. With its twisty, fun layout in the dark, this is a quirky, unique ride that is a great gateway coaster, especially for younger riders, though it might be a little bit scary for first-timers. I told you in the beginning that there would be a Zira Tivoli on the list, and here it is. It's the Rasender Tausendfüßler or Furious Millipede at Erlebnispark Tripsdrill. And in my opinion, this particular one gets the world's most beautiful and best themed Zira Tivoli Large Award. There you go. Do you notice how green everything is here? It begins when you enter the rustic design station area. The queue is overgrown with trees and greenery, and this coaster just feels like it's in its little world of its own, which totally sells the theming of the ride. You really feel like a millipede dashing over the garden grounds. Shocking, I know, a Zira Tivoli that does more in terms of theming and storytelling than most other roller coasters. Just look at all these excited riders. Look at it this way, you can build a ride like this, or you can go the extra mile and end up recognized for the work that you put in. This just proves that when done right, even a Zira Tivoli can be a work of art. Nessie Super Roller Coaster at Hansapark was the first stationary roller coaster with a looping in Germany and the largest inverting roller coaster in Europe when it opened on April 24, 1980. Until then, the only other inverting roller coaster in a theme park in Germany was Holiday Park's Superwirbel, which opened the year before. Unlike Superwirbel, Nessie operates to this day and was only recently included in the new Beautiful Britain section of the park. Hansapark's latest addition, a drop tower called Highlander, was placed in Nessie's final helix. The ride's layout is pretty simple. The 26-meter or 85-foot lift hill is followed by a 180-degree left-handed turn leading into the first drop and the vertical looping. The ride goes up a hill following an extensive left-handed turn into its block brakes. The following drop has a really nice pop of airtime, especially in the back rows. Riders go over a small airtime hill and into the ride's final helix, where the train slowly accelerates more and more until it plunges down into the final brake run. With an ear-deafening noise, the train is brought to a halt. Riders slowly travel in darkness until they reach the unload area. Nessie is a cult classic ride, a landmark ride for the park, one of the first looping roller coasters for many riders, and the now updated theming is a sign that the park still cares about the ride and hopefully plans to keep this classic Schwarzkopf for many years to come. So, bobsled roller coasters usually have a bad reputation, be it the capacity, ride comfort or track length. But the Bobbahn at Heide-Park in Soltau, in my opinion, is pretty much the best mug rides bobsled roller coaster around. This ride is not too short, with 990 meters or 3200 feet of track length, almost double the length of Blackpool's Avalanche. And while most of the layout is pretty much what you would get on a standard fare mug bobsled, it is the section between the first and second mid-course block brakes that stand out for me. Coming out of the brake run, a 270-degree helix to the left leads into a very tight 90-degree right-handed turn, which then again leads into a full 360-degree left-handed helix, whereafter the ride goes into a tunnel and riders haul through yet another right-handed helix that is the longest of the bunch. Then riders shoot out of the dark into the next mid-course block brake. As I've said before, the rest of the layout is pretty standard fare, and what follows after the final brake run is a long trek around the bottom of the hill to reach the second lift hill to get up to the ride's station level. This middle section shows what a proper bobsled roller coaster could do, and the way the weight of the trains forces the cars to swing high in the turns feels much more forceful than you would think. I'm looking forward to riding Park Asterix's bobsled one day, but until then, of all the mug bobsleds that I have ridden, this one is my favorite. I'd like to know what your opinions are on bobsled roller coasters and if you prefer the mug rides or Intermin single bob type ones. Just leave a comment below. Out of the 5 still operating wooden roller coasters in Germany, I feel like there is one that is often overlooked. It does not feature the impressive outline of Collossos, nor is it heavily themed like Wodan, but in terms of layout and just pure fun, I feel like this ride is only second to its Dutch relatives. El Toro at Freizeitpark Plön was built by GCI and opened in 2009. It's curvy, full of airtime, twisty airtime and GCI goodness. The coaster was built on what seems like a very small footprint and proves that GCI can do a lot with a little amount of room to work with. It's integrated beautifully into the landscape around a small pond and you can get really close to the ride. The pacing is phenomenal and El Toro manages to keep its speed until the very last seconds of the ride. There are great head-chopper moments and the ride just has that GCI floatiness where with all the twists and little dips you are constantly lifted out of your seat. A couple of times it even stole the German Park Scout Best Wooden Roller Coaster award from its more prominent and much bigger competitors. If you ever find yourself near the German-Polish border, maybe when heading for Energylandia in Poland, take a short detour to Freizeitpark Plön and give El Toro a ride. So while researching for this mystery coaster and just trying to find some good resources, I thought that maybe this coaster deserves its own in-depth video. It is one of the largest traveling roller coasters still around. It has a very long and interesting history, and right now I think you could find it in a smaller park somewhere in Lower Saxony. So for this one, I guess we will just have to wait and see. So So this concludes my list of Editor's Choice roller coasters in Germany. What would be your Editor's Choice coasters that wouldn't fit on any other type of list? Can you guess the mystery coaster? Maybe tell us in the comments below, like the video or subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching and see you soon.